Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission. Beyond the watch, there are ways out. There is a light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness. Beyond the watch, the gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. You can't beat death, but you can beat death in life, sometimes. And the more often you learn to do it, the more light there will be. Your life is your life. Know it while you have it. You are marvelous. The gods wait to delight in you. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way.
All right, this is Richie Contartesi, and welcome to the Richie Show. I am glad you guys have made it today. And first of all, before we get into anything, I just want to give credit where credit is due. That is one of my favorite videos. And this guy, the I don't know how to pronounce his name. I really don't. But I've been watching his videos for probably the last 4 years, and they are awesome. They are unbelievable videos, super motivational, super true. And they've made a massive impact on my life, so I would highly suggest going and subscribing to his YouTube channel or following him or wherever you want to do it at. But the guy's the real deal.
Welcome to The Richie Show, a personal development mastermind. Richie is an entrepreneur, speaker, author of In Spite of the Odds, and he's addicted to motivating, inspiring, and sharing the valuable information he used to accomplish his dreams so you can accomplish yours.
I want to touch on that video today because there's a lot of really key principles that come from that video, and I think will really make a big impact on your life as well as my life and just going through this. And so the first thing that I really thought stood out to me is he says, there isn't much light, but it beats the darkness. And this couldn't be more true when we're going after like a major goal that we have, or we have this big aspiration or a dream. It's going to be like a very small amount of light. A very small amount of light at the end of the tunnel, but at the end of the day, right, it beats the darkness. But what happens is a lot of people, when they see this light, they get very flustered. They see it's really small chance. They see lots of tasks, lots of things to do. And what they do is they're like, oh, this is way too much. And then they end up just basically quitting. They're just like, there's no way that I can get through this. And so they basically just quit. And so most of the time, there is a very little bit of light. And what we need to do is we need to have or create basically clarity. There's got to be clarity in what it is that we want. And that comes down to writing down your goal and stuff like that. But being clear on what it is that we want makes it very easy to say, okay, what is the task that I can do today? right? Like, what is the one thing that I can do today? Because if we don't look at it like that, if we don't create tasks day by day and we keep it like this huge, massive goal and this little bit of light, then we'll never achieve it. We're just going to give up, and that's just the way that we're wired. So people will give up. So the first thing is, there isn't much light, but I promise you, it definitely beats the darkness. It beats no light at all, and we've got to be the ones to create clarity. We've got to be the ones that basically say, what is this goal, and then creating small little tasks every day to get there, right? So the next thing that he hits on is the gods will offer you chances, but you must find them. And this couldn't be more true. I mean, there's going to be times when doors open up for you, but it's up to us to say, boom, that's the door. I got to go and get it, right? Like, that is an opening door, and I better run to go and take that door. And on top of that, you got to take action. All right, so the gods will offer you chances, but you must find them. And to take it a step further is you must take action, right? Like, when I was at Jacksonville University and I was cut from the team, not Division I, no scholarships, wasn't fulfilling my dream, but it was the only opportunity that I had, and I was cut from the team, right? I decided that I was going to play Division I college football. I wasn't going to give up on my dream, and boom, a door opened up. And that was from a relationship I built when I was 12 years old with a man named Kyle Strongen. And so he was able to open the door for me at Ole Miss. Now, there's a lot that goes into that, but I had to find that door. And it wasn't easy, but I had to find it. And on top of that, I had to take action. There was a bunch of things I had to do. I had to call Kyle. I had to share with him all this stuff. And he did a bunch of help along the way. And that goes into building relationships and stuff like that. So the next piece here is the more you learn, the more light there will be. Like, I don't know how much more I can talk about this in these videos, but education. The more you learn, the more light there will be. So the more educated you are, and I'm not just talking about traditional education, but the more educated you are on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, right? The more light there will be at the end of the tunnel, the bigger that light will get, the easier it'll be for you to get there, the more steps that you create on the way to get there, but it comes back to education. And so people always ask me, they go, Richie, how do you overcome the fear of failure, right? This is one of the most common things that stop people from achieving their goals is the fear of failure. And so there's one way to strongly overcome the fear of failure. And I say, yes, feel the fear and do it anyways. Just do it. Take action. Yes. But to dive a little bit deeper, it's education. Education defeats the fear of failure. The more educated you are on it, the more confident you're going to be, and the less probability of failure will occur. So if you're, more educated, the less fear of failure you will feel, which will give you more confidence, which will create more light at the end of the tunnel. All right, so the next part here is you are marvelous even though it's hard to see. And this is really hard for everybody. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how not successful you are. It is hard every single day to keep self-confidence, to say to myself, I am marvelous, I am the best. And people do that with affirmations and all kinds of things, but it's hard to do. And like I said, I don't care how successful you are. I don't care where you are, how much money you have. It is hard to do no matter where you are in your life. It's just the fact. Here's the bottom line. You're not as fat as you think you are. You're not as dumb as you think you are. You're better than the image that you have in your mind, right? Like, I remember I was at Ole Miss, and I'm 5'7", 150 pounds, and I was going out onto the practice field, and I'm holding my helmet, and I'm like, man, I'm too small. I'm not big enough. I'm not talented enough. What am I doing out here? Blah, 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 right? So, but at some point in time, regardless of these things that were going on through my head, I still found a way to tell myself, like, you're the one. As Les Brown would say, you're the one. And I just kept telling myself that, and I just started believing it. But regardless of that, I still had to find ways to tell myself that I'm marvelous, right? I'm marvelous even though it's hard to see. And so I want you to know you're not as fat as you think you are. You're not as ugly as you think you are. You're not as dumb as you think you are. You're better than you imagine yourself. And so finding that self-confidence is key. The next thing it says is go all the way or don't try at all. Go all the way in or don't try at all. I remember when I was at Ole Miss, we had a head coach. His name was Houston Nutt. And he was actually very successful at the time when I was there. And he said he came into a meeting one day. He was really unhappy at the way that the team was performing. And he comes into the meeting room and he goes, look, if you have 1 foot in the door, get out. If you have 1 foot in the door, get out. He's like, I only want players who are all in. I don't care I don't care how great of a player you are. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care if you're going to the NFL next year. If you don't have both feet in, get out. And I'll tell you what, man, that room got silent. That room got super silent. And it's true. Like, at times when a team, especially, isn't doing well, typically it's due to the fact that there's players who aren't all in. And when you're going after a dream or a major goal that you have to be all in. Like, you can't have 1 foot in. You can't just say, you know what, today I'm going to go after that dream, but like tonight I'm not. I'm going to like do drugs or something. Like, you have to be all in 24/7 all the time. Like, if that's what it is that you want. You're either going to make a decision to get in, which is going to be my next podcast, which I'm excited about, or get out. In or out. 1 foot in isn't going to work. And you have to be prepared to lose things. And he says you can lose everything, not eating, sleeping on a park bench, all kinds of different things. But you have to be willing to lose everything. And so when you look at something that you want to accomplish, you know, one of the first things that I do is I say, okay, how bad do I want this? How bad do I want this accomplishment? Because in reality, I have to look at the pain that I'm about to endure going after this. And I have to say to myself, okay, am I willing to take this pain on? Am I willing to endure this pain, right? Because here's the thing. Going after anything meaningful, there's going to be experiencing failure and rejection and many fears. And so you have to decide, am I willing to lose everything? Am I willing to go through the pain to get there? And if you're not, stay doing what you're doing, stay middle class, stay average, and, that's cool too. Some people want that. I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast, but you have to be willing to take on that pain. And this last part here is my favorite, or one of my favorites. And he says, you will get tested to see how bad you want it. And when you get it, it will be the best thing ever. You will definitely get tested. I can't tell you how many different experiences I had just at Ole Miss alone of times I was tested. When players, man, in the very early stages when people didn't know me and I was kind of new and I was a small guy, man, I got dogged. I mean, I would say most people would probably cry and quit after some of the experiences that I had. Like, I don't even know how to explain how bad some of them were, and I would never call anybody out on it, but it was bad. And I was getting tested. When I was writing my book, man, there was a point where I was getting all this momentum and things were going really, really well. And then boom, like all my stories were all over the place. My next edited version came back and it was a disaster. And I really wanted to quit. Like I was like, this is not going anywhere. There's no way this is ever going to come together, blah, blah, blah. And so I actually did quit for like I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks, and then I came back and finished it. I was being tested, right? And people are going to test you. The world's going to test you. It's part of the game, and it's what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Like when I look back at what I did with the book, I'm not proud of wasting 3 weeks, but I'm proud that I came back and overcame that. It was a huge learning experience. It's allowed me to do this podcast and help other people get through it because I've experienced it, and I won't let it happen again, right? So you will get tested to see how bad you want it. And when you get it, it will be the best thing ever. Like, when it came to football for me, that was my high. Running onto the field, running out of the tunnel, playing in a game, making a play, that was my high. When I left football, I didn't know what my purpose was after that point. I didn't know how I was going to get into that flow is what they call it. I didn't know what my high was going to be, and I wasn't going to do drugs to get there. So I needed to find my purpose. And I went and I searched and I searched and I searched, and I found it through speaking. And when I found it, when I got onto the stage in front of over 2,000 people, man, it was the best thing ever. It was the best thing ever. And what I say is this, like, when you're going after, a big goal, like, if it works out for you, that's going to be so awesome. But if it doesn't, at least you had the courage to go after it. At least you have the courage, and you know that it will be the best thing ever. Because it will. Because it's a high that you don't come down on. That's pretty cool. And so, guys, that's going to wrap up the show today. I just felt like that video was so powerful in so many different ways, and we can all take away from it. It's made a massive impact on kind of the way that I think recently, and I wanted to share it with you. I thought it would be a great share. So thank you for being with me here today on the show. Feel free to subscribe on YouTube or iTunes or SoundCloud, or I don't think SoundCloud, one of the other ones, wherever I know I'm being, I think it's called syndicated on a few different podcast networks. Definitely subscribe. Shoot me an email. Go to richie84.com. Click the contact tab, or if you're in YouTube or anywhere there's comments, write comments. They come to me. They come to my team. We will get back to you. We'll get you answered. I want to hear how this video has made an impact for you. So please comment and let me know, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys go out and have yourself a great day.